welcome back. We've nearly finished our rounds in Heimdall, so let's get on with it. I went to go play with Mama, but I took too much time and now it's late. That's okay, right? The goddess might hear it better this way. It's good thinking. I hope the Emperor gets better. Scrap you while we can. How could our beloved summer festival have turned into something like this? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. How could our beloved summer festival turn... Oh dear. I heard the Emperor is still in critical condition. We prayed for his recovery. I hope the goddess hears us. How come every day we've Tate to play? Hope the goddess hears us. Come back here. How could something like this happen? You should hurry home, otherwise the military police might question you. Yeah, very well. Let's go see what's going on with you. I feel uneasy in the house, but I don't find being outside particularly fun either. Maybe I should stay home today. Ghost from St. Astria told me I should stay home too. Maybe I should. Oh dear. The Imperial Defense Force. It's just as Elise said. Elise and the Princess are returning. We need to prioritize security. It's true. Let's leave it to them. Elise and the Princess are returning. Fine. Let's say security. I don't know. Anyway, what I want to do is actually go back and check in Trincar number 1 before we head into the cathedral. So I remember this was a thing, and I was wondering why it was a thing, and then we had loads of little side quests. Report requests. Lovely.
We now rival the main campus. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
A gift from His Majesty.
Oh.
Accept it with gratitude. I look forward to next time.
Okay, so let's see what that is. Speed goes down. Strength goes up quite a bit there. I like that, because that's quite a bit of strength. Where'd the thingy even go? What did I have previous? Did I have that? I had that, didn't I? Yes, there we go. We'll give that to you, and that feels much better. Okay, so there we go. That's cool. Right, Sunk District. Entrance. Let's get ready to head inside and see what's going on. Because I imagine, based on its location, it's probably going to be Thomas. Because I really want to know about these black records already. Thomas. Heimdall Cathedral. A man Gaius said people wished to speak with us. Probably take a while, so we should take care of any unfinished business. Enter the cathedral. No one's here? Can this cathedral be completely empty?
So, you've arrived at last.
Oh, here we go. Oh. You're... in the Leaves Chapel? Sister Rosine? I had heard rumors, but... Wait, that's what Gaius and Emma were talking about? I was somewhat expecting you to show up here. But your main objective is different, right?
Yes, it's good to see you all again. Please, come in. They're waiting for you just over there.
There?
Ah, I'm glad you all finally made it.
Whoa, look at your getup.
The church has decided this issue now merits the attention of the Congregation for the Sacraments.
Mm-hmm.
As such, the Archbishop and all the staff here have been moved to another location.
Huh? You're... I get it now. Huh? Former instructor at Thors main campus? Thomas?
Thank you for all your diligence, Rosine. I'd feel much better if you were to stand watch over the front door now, just in case.
Yes, understood. Leave it to me.
What was that all about? Yes, this was pretty shocking to us too.
Let me introduce you.
How more dignified he looks.
This man is a member of the Grolsritter, a division of the Septian Church. He's the second in command, in fact. Thomas Lysander. He holds the seat of Second Dominion and is sometimes known by his title, the Partitioner.
Grolsritter? They're an armed knight organization that is run by the church. I heard that female terrorist S was once among their ranks. Wait a minute! Guys, does this mean... Are you...
Now allow me to introduce you. This man is one of the Grolsritter's 12 Dominion.
Really?
The successor to the 8th Dominion, Gaius Warzel.
But why? Is this why we couldn't get a hold of you for the past 6 months?
Yeah, a lot happened all at once. After graduating from Thors, I returned to Nord and began observing the struggle between Erebonia and Calvard. However, I began to feel something dark and sinister carried on the winds of the plateaus. I consulted my father and the chief, and eventually my old teacher, Father Barkhorn, came to visit.
Ooh, that's the dude, the traveling dude.
You might remember the name. He was the traveling priest we chased after during the Civil War.
Yes.
But it turns out, he was also the 8th Dominion of the Grolsritter, with the title the Roaring Lion.
He would have to be someone high up to be able to travel the way he did.
He was an extremely skilled knight who investigated the Salt Pale in Northumbria and trained Brigadier General Bardius. Apparently, he was worried and came to Nord to check up on me. He explained to me that what I had been sensing was called the Gale of Ruin. I'm not sure why I'm able to sense it. Maybe it's because I'm a descendant of those who fought alongside the Lionheart Emperor. I mentioned this to him and he came to a realization, but then it happened. A Calvardian ship that broke past the 7th Armored Division attacked my village. My father was away at the time. I fought back in an attempt to protect my family, but it was no use. Right as I prepared myself for death, my teacher threw his huge body in the way to protect me. And as he lay there dying, he passed his stigma onto me.
What?
Across the nearly 1,000-year history of the Grolsritter, its highest-ranking members have each borne one of 12 sacred markings. This was one of those markings.
It would be 12, wouldn't it? Roaring Lion. Heard that name many times. Save many people who were affected by the disaster in Northumbria. Yes, among the current Dominion members, he was the most veteran. After the stigma was passed to Gaius, I took him to the holy city of Alteria. He received knight training, hence his half-year silence. I see. That's what was happening. You should have told us. Yeah, we could have helped you. It's okay, everything happened so quickly. I did everything I had to do, and finished my knight training. Last month, Eustace was finally able to reach me. The power that I received from my master. Bet I will save the Empire, my second home, as a member of Class VII. Ah, Gaius. Sheesh. Always be so grand and reliable. Thank you, Gaius. Please lend us your strength. Yes, I will give you my all. Is Kurt's arm on fire? Anyway, seeing someone like him puts us under even more pressure. Yeah, Gap isn't just in age or experience. This group has become awfully formidable. No. We're still in training. I would like to reach the heights of my predecessors.
Grandmother! Stop hiding! Come out
us here in the first place, aren't you?
I only hid myself so as not to interrupt your discussion.
Ah, you're Emma's grandmother. The elder of the witches. Rosalia, was it?
Indeed. But you may simply call me Rose. I had you all gather here for one reason. To explain to you the background between the Hexen clan and the church.
I see, so that's how it is. But aren't the witches opposed to the church?
It's not as though we don't believe in Adios. There have been some differences in opinion over the years, but we and the church have worked together on a number of occasions.
For example, during the War of the Lions, or the vampire incident in the Middle Ages. Not to mention the fight against the Dark Dragon 800 years ago.
But all that was just Rose sticking her nose into other people's business.
Huh? Wait, so you're involved in all that?
Legend has it, Emperor Dreikel's camp was once visited by a good witch. And the novel Red Moon Rose features a vampire hunter affiliated with the church who was, in truth, the true ancestor of the vampires. The woman you now see before you was both of these people, even if she looks a bit different.
Triple dot on its face. How old are you exactly?
800 or so.
You look good.
However, you should know that my situation is somewhat unique. All other witches are normal humans. Except, of course, for the fact that they are all descendants of those who once guarded the Septarian of Fire.
Septarian of Fire? It's the same as the Ouroboros and the Great Tree of Crossbow. The Septarians, the 7 gifts bestowed on humanity by the goddess. Said that they were all lost during the Great Collapse 1,200 years ago. But the things Ouroboros has been trying to get their hands on all this time. Yeah, now for the main topic. Now, where to begin? Grandmother, we don't know anything beyond this. Don't leave out any details. Make sure you explain it fully. I second that request. I don't know the details either. Look at Mango's face, he's still in shock. Let's see. Rosalia? Perhaps we should take turns talking. Very well. That will suffice. I'm sure you've noticed by now, but there is a front and back to this empire. The spirit veins are directly affected by the turbulence of the government and war. Yep. And that causes cryptids and powerful monsters from other planes to stir. That explains it then. As the Empire's territory spreads, so will they. The Pyromagras and Magic Knights. Where did they come from in the first place? Now, to begin, Pyromagras is a managrass from the higher planes. It once served as the eyes and ears of the Septarian Barrage. Normally it's blue, but after the incidents in Crossbell, it all vanished. That is until after Crossbell became part of the Empire, at which point it began to reappearing in its new scarlet shade. The implications are rather chilling. Changed color to match the Infernal Castle, perhaps? There is undoubtedly a connection. As for the Magic Knights, you may have heard before, but they are golems from the Dark Ages. Yeah. They were created by mages of the Empire to fight against the Divine Knights. During the Civil War, something caused them to stir once more, and they now appear in Crossbell via the Spirit Path. No way. That would also explain the increased incidents of cryptids recently. What about the Society? The Phantasmal Blaze plan. They sought to use Crossbell's false phantasm to awaken the blaze in Erebonia. At least that's what I heard. Seriously? So that's their plan. Where did you hear that? Well, last night I heard it from the Chancellor himself. He told me some other intriguing things too, but I feel like he intentionally left out some of the more important details. I see. Heard you talk to him, but... Seems Ouroboros working crossbell 2 years ago was to bring some kind of change in Erebonia. Just so you know, Crossbell's Mirage Septarian was an artificially created fake, so it was Mirage, okay. It was stronger than the original. Ooh. But the Society had no interest in it. Were I to hazard a guess, their goal is to acquire the two treasures that originally existed here. The Septarian of Fire and Earth, once called the Land of Erebos, home. Septarians of Fire and Earth. So Lebel had the Septarian of Space, Crossbell the Septarian of Mirage, but Erebonia had two Septarians. Hold on a second. Emma, if the witches are the descendants of the people who guarded the Septarian of Fire, then the gnomes, yes, then the Black Workshop and the gnomes are the same people. Ah, the descendants of those who guarded the Septarian of Earth. There are counterparts, much like the royal family of Lebel and the Croy family in Crossbell. In addition, you may be aware that each Septarian has its own holy beast assigned to watch over it. Lebel had an ancient dragon. I think we faced that, didn't we? And Crossbell had a divine wolf. And as it had two Septarian, Erebonia had two holy beasts as well. However, after the Great Collapse, each of them vanished alongside the Septarian they were to oversee. That's the core of the issue. The two Septarian, the two groups of people who worshipped them, and the two holy beasts. Septarians and holy beasts disappeared, and the people changed their names. What happened in Erebonia 1,200 years ago? And I were to reveal to you the truth behind the land of Erebos. This story still relies on a modicum of speculation. Please keep that in mind. Go, tell.
In the beginning, this land housed two of the Septarian. The Arc Rouge, Septarian of Fire and wielder of fierce power. The Lost Zem, Septarian of Earth and bearer of unyielding endurance. Each assumed the form of a colossal guardian and went about granting boons and performing miracles for its people. For a few centuries, the land of Erebonia prospered, but eventually, its people began to vie for power and control. The Septarians had always granted their people's wishes, but now, their peoples each wished for the other's destruction. And so, the two colossi began fighting. Their battle ravaged the earth and split the sky, devastating the entire region. The humans tried to stop them, but it was in vain. The Septarians' fight continued 1,000 days, scorching the land black. When the battle ended at long last, it was a tie. Exhausting their power in one final strike, the two Septarian were blown away, left as nothing but empty shells. Yet the tale did not end there.
The power expelled by each Septarian collided and became one.
This goes along with a theory I was talking about on Twitter. My theory is completely wrong because I thought that battle was an analogy towards a forging. I think I was talking about this like a month ago. Just the idea of like, what do the names of the games mean? And we've got Trails of Cold Steel. My idea was like it was the Septarian of Earth and Fire. Earth being like materials and stuff like that. Fire being the forge in order to make steel. Hence Trails of Cold Steel. Like a Septarian of Steel. It's all I've got right now.
Resulting in the creation of an entirely new entity.
Steel.
The Great One, the Septarian of Steel.
Us?
It was an existence created from the union of fire and earth. It was beyond anything else in this realm. It was the ultimate source of power. Though things seemed fine at first, the survivors of the war soon realized the eternal conflict within it. They knew this conflict would cause it to grow ever more unstable, and that it was not something that could be handled by mankind.
With the holy beast's assistance, the kins of fire and earth joined together to see the Great One sealed away. However, each of their attempts ended in failure. Left with no other options, they resorted to their final plan. The Great One would remain whole in the higher plane, yet its physical incarnation in this world split into numerous shards. It was this final gambit that saw disaster averted.
Indeed. Their combined efforts bore fruit. The kin of Earth created 7 vessels, while the kin of Fire split the Great One's power and infused each vessel with a part of it.
7 dolls in the form of knights, each bearing the Great One's power, the Divine Knights.
Wow. That is beyond fathomable. Now, before anybody goes into it down in the comments, because someone will, it's like, yes, I know there's also this thing about, like cold steel is about the glint on a blade, and it being like the edge of Rean's blade, that sort of shimmer that he does and all that type of stuff. Yeah, because Falcom don't hide things at all, do they? They don't hide the fact the name of the game is actually referencing something else. Like, the cooling, the cold period after making steel. No, it couldn't be that. No. They wouldn't hide that, would they? No. That is beyond fathomable. I was told about this in bits and pieces, but it's what that happened 1,200 years ago. See, now this makes my imagination go crazy and with theories of like, we got the crossbow games, you got Zero. It's like, I've got other ideas with that beyond just the Zero child. Like, because if I'm right and they're hiding things in the names, and it's like, it seems like, oh, it's this, and Cold Steel is about a blade. Like, oh yeah, sure. Oh, it's about the railways. Oh yeah, sure. When it's, no, it's about this. It's about this Septilion of Steel. What does Zero and Ao? However it's pronounced, mean? Trails in the sky. It's like, the DualShock 4 battery level is low. So all that happened 1,200 years ago. It wasn't a fairy tale, right? At the very least, something similar happened. So what happened after that? Why did Valimar and the other Divine Knights start fighting? This is as far as the story that was passed down goes. So the kin of Fire became the Hexen clan, and the kin of Earth became the Gnomes. They split the unstable ultimate power into 7, and both sides decided to watch over the reconstruction after the Great Collapse. Oh, and by the way, many people from each kinship have since abandoned their roles. They joined together, started accepting people from the surrounding area, and created the foundation of what became Erebonia. This is around the same time the Septine Church was spreading across Erebonia. 300 years passed and the Arnor family established the city of Heimdall. That's when the disaster of the Dark Dragon occurred.
900 years ago, Heimdall was a small city of only about 50,000 people. However, it was one of the burgeoning centers of culture for the region. The Septine Church had finished construction on the Heimdall Cathedral, and there were plans to develop the city even further. But it was then the Dark Dragon appeared, blanketing Heimdall in miasma and transforming it into a city of the dead. Emperor Astorius chose to lead his people south and made Sainark the new capital of Erebonia.
In helping Emperor Astorius deal with this crisis, the Hexen clan and gnomes each suffered substantial losses. The Hexen clan lost its elder, and the gnomes their holy beast. And so ended their alliance. The final time they spoke would be a century later. It was when Emperor Hector awakened the Vermilion Knight to reclaim Heimdall from the Dark Dragon. He did so at the urging of the chief of the gnomes and the new elder of the Hexen clan, myself. However, the Emperor fell to the Dark Dragon's miasma, and the Vermilion Night to its curse. The Emperor's son had the chief of the gnomes and myself seal the cursed night deep below the Imperial Palace. That would be the last act our two clans performed together. I do not know why, but the gnomes cut off contact with our clan and hid themselves away. In the 800 years that followed, whenever war struck Erebonia, a divine knight would enter the stage, demonstrate its might, then vanish. I was certain the gnomes were involved, yet all we could do was guide awakeners on the proper course. This unending pattern reached its most fevered peak 250 years ago during the War of the Lions. The false Emperor Orthros unearthed the cursed Vermilion Night, and a mercenary under Prince Lucius' employ awakened the Palatinate Night. Prince Dreichels found the Ashen Night, and Leanne the Argent Night. The four awakened at once, made for a grand war indeed.
That's how things connect. There are so many parts of this story I want to question, but now for me it's all making sense. So Emma's grandma was around during the War of the Lions. A good witch. Read about them in fairy tales. As the prince's guide, I accompanied the Dreichels camp. I remember those days. It used to be quite the beauty. All I mean to say is that the art depictions of me are not inaccurate. As I said earlier, the Order of the Witches isn't a normal human. They've been watching over the clan after becoming an immortal being. Yes, but it only came into existence 800 years ago. My predecessor perished soon afterward, and I do not have many memories from before that point. So naturally, there are things that I still do not know. But there are things that you do know about, such as how you said the maiden Leanne was the awakener of the Argent Knight, whether or not she is Ouroboros' steel maiden. Ouroboros. That's true. You could confirm so many things. It is her, of that much I am certain. She was the daughter of a count who met the wandering prince, only to challenge the apocalypse, only to lose her life. However, before that happened, it was I who guided Leanne to become the Argent Awakener. But Leanne knew her powers were too great, so she kept them hidden away. It was only during her battle with the apocalypse that she unleashed her full might. In the end, however, she was fatally injured and passed away after the war. Then half a year later, I witnessed her revival. Along with your ancestor, Arsaid, second in command of the Eisenritter. Ah, so that's why. You were the one who revived them, grandmother? Yeah, that's what I'd like to know too. After Leanne passed, but it's strange how her body did not rot. So I took her body back to the village, and half a year later, she simply woke up. I assumed she had become an immortal though. Could not say when or how. Nan realized what had happened to her. So she left Erebonia to walk the earth without ever telling her love, Dreichels. She left a gram with Arsaid, a right-hand man. I occasionally met with her whenever she came around, but the last time was 20 years ago. It's when she met Ouroboros' Grand Master, who brought her into the fold. Thank you for sharing this. Some things that can't be overlooked. Yeah, we've seen too many incredible things over the last few months. So the boss and Crow were both. As I said earlier, we have no idea what specifically happened. I think the key is the Divine Knight. The Jaeger King was not an awakener when he was alive. On the other hand, Dreichels was an awakener, but but he did not become immortal. He has remained dead. See, at least that comes up. Yes. That's right. Instructor Rean isn't immortal, is he? Alright, he's still been growing since graduating. Yeah, I may have some weird powers, but I've definitely aged. Is there a common reason? I believe there are only two people who know the truth. The current Chancellor, Gaius Osborne, and the Chief of the Gnomes, Black Ouroboros. So that's the leader of the Black Workshop. Yes, they do not believe he is an immortal like me. The leadership of the Gnomes is somehow passed down from one to the next, in order for them to achieve their goal of bringing about the Great Twilight. The what? It's the first I've heard of it, but... is that the fairy tale of the end that Vita was talking about? Yes, 800 years ago. As we were going our separate ways, that is what the Chief of the Gnomes told the Prince and me. It was as if he was foretelling a future where everything ends. Wait, that's too... it's much too similar to the direction the Empire is heading. Let me add to this. The reason Barkhorn and I were in Erebonia was because we discovered an anomaly. The spirit veins were being distorted all over the continent, and the source seemed to emanate from the Empire. It's like a ripple effect. Ooh. Incidents in the Burn and Crossbelt, as well as the civil war in Erebonia, only served to further increase the distortions. They continued to get larger after Crossbelt and Northumbria were folded into the Empire, and larger again when the cryptids and the magic knives of Erebonia appeared in Crossbelt. On the other hand, Pleroma grass, which is native to Crossbelt, started blooming in the Empire. If the Great Twilight really is about to happen, then all of this seems to be an omen of things to come. Who is this Ouroboros person? Uses the masked man as his agent, and hired the Jaeger king who is supposed to be dead. Are there other gnomes out there? Well, your dear rabbit friends may technically count, but besides the masked man, their leader seems to have at least one other acting agent. Can't say who this person may be, but George, it would seem they are a talented craftsman at any rate. Oh, and before you jump to conclusions, I'm not speaking of that little brat Schmidt. It would seem the person I speak of possesses a different kind of genius than he does. George! Talented craftsman. That sounds... it's putting some unpleasant ideas in my head. In any event, Ouroboros and the Chancellor are probably connected. It's unlikely to be through the Intelligence Division or his children. With the incidents of last night, things may have already been put into motion. Oh. Why do you say that? Last night we finally decoded the black records that you found the other day. Let me know. Let me see. On the black records are a collection of particular type of artifacts sometimes found in Erebonia. I was actually exchanging information about them with Rean. Really? When did that happen? After you graduated, he revealed his true identity to me. It was only New Game Plus, you guys weren't there. He told me not to tell anyone, if you don't hold it against me. Instructor Sir Lysander. Sheesh, you probably took advantage of Rean's sense of responsibility, didn't you? Well, can't deny it. In any event, this is what the updated Black Records said.
When the sacrifice is made and the ancient blood flows, the path to the Grawl of Erebos shall open.
Oh, crap.
When the tainted holy beast is pierced by the blade of World's End, and its blood fills the Grawl, the great twilight shall fall upon the land.
What? That... the timing's too perfect. It's as if the prophecies were written about our current situation. Yeah, like I said, Elder Scrolls. If the ancient blood is referring to the Emperor, yeah. Then is the sacrifice referring to Ash? No. What about the Graal and the blade? The Graal is probably related to the Septian Church. And the tainted holy beast? Sir Lysander, could that be? Yes. As was stated earlier, Gaius, there is a sacred place beneath this cathedral. The Primal Ground, a facility that was designed to play a major role after the Great Collapse. 900 years ago, when Heimdall was shrouded in darkness, it retreated beneath here and disappeared. Disappeared? I heard about such a facility in the Burl. Yes, there's one beneath the Grand Cell Cathedral in the Burl, too. However, when Heimdall was retaken, the space beneath the cathedral was buried by rock. What if it didn't disappear and simply transferred somewhere else instead? Ah. So it still exists? The holy beast mentioned in the prophecy is likely the holy beast of Earth. As I said before, it disappeared after the disaster 900 years ago. It's only speculation, but I believe the dark dragon you faced the other day was merely a servant of the true holy beast. A servant? Wait a minute. You're saying that the dark dragon wasn't the cause of everything? It was indeed a powerful cryptid. It was not something the witches and gnomes could not take care of together. The holy beast gave birth to the dark dragon, and is still alive somewhere. Where else could it be but the primal ground? One of the conditions set forth in the prophecy are lining up. This has to be a joke. Regarding this blade of world's end, it defeats the holy beast. Of a script, yes, it is called the Originator Zero. I am speculating that this is a special weapon created by the Black Workshop. What in the world? At the very least, it probably isn't anything like what the boss uses. I think it's made of Zumerian ore, like the weapons used by Divine Knights. No, I think it's Musée and Altina. That would seem most likely.
Musée?
Is something the matter?
Oh?
You realize something?
Right now, we need any straw we can grasp at.
Anything at all could help, no matter how small.
Yes, you're right. That term. Originator Zero. Could that be OZ, perhaps?
Said.
That's what the Black Workshop called Millium and Altina.
They're model numbers. OZ.
What are you talking about?
I'm with you, Yuna. Zed.
So you finally made it.
That voice. Vita!
Ah, so the prodigal granddaughter returns.
Misty, Vita.
I heard you had been acting on your own.
Nice to see you again, Grandmother. Emma, Celine, and Class VII, too. And thank you for mediating, Mr. Lysander.
Oh, don't even mention it. It always breaks my heart to see a family torn apart so.
Vita! Why? You really don't plan on ever coming back, do you?
That's correct. As I said before, my allegiance will forever lie with the Grandmaster. I can't return to you and Grandmother. I can never go back to the way I used to be. Just like the Steel Maiden.
Seriously, who even is this Grandmaster person?
It's a penguin. Ultimate Penguin Buster.
I have no clue. But it is clear she is quite taken with them. So do tell, Vita. If you have not decided to return to us, why show yourself now? Has Ouroboros finally decided upon its course of action?
Yes. After our experiments with the 3 ions, the 6 other Anguis came to a unanimous decision. They decided to ignore my warning. They will work with the Chancellor and the Gnomes to bring about the Great Twilight, completing the Phantasmal Blaze plan.
So that's how it is. The reason Ouroboros was so quiet the past month wasn't because they left Erebonia.
It was to carry out their plan, and determine whether they should work alongside enemies and traitors.
How can that be? If that were the case, it means...
They're all our enemies?
Is this?
It's not the cathedral's bell.
Oh no.
Huh? I think I recognize it from Crossbell.
You do?
Yeah, I'm sure of it. I remember hearing it right before the incidents in Crossbell, when we were still independent. Oh! The one from the museum!
The bell from Stargazer's tower?
But the sound's coming from a different direction than the museum.
The Phantasmal Blaze Plan. What a fitting name. I wonder how much of this she foresaw.
That is quite enough mumbling to yourself. If you know what is going on, show us!
It'll be a bit tough without Grianos. I'll need your help, Grandmother. Emma, Celine, you too.
Yes! Ugh, I'm not your slave.
This isn't gonna be good, is it? Oh, what a lovely place to put the bell. It's got waterfalls and everything. The Vermilion Knight? Right? It's all going exactly as I expected it to in regards to Altina and Milliam. It isn't gonna be good.
Now then, let us say we celebrate the continuation of the Phantasmal Blaze plan by ringing in the Great Twilight. I, Enforcer number 0, the Fool, shall play the opening note.
Oh, fuck. Imperial Villa, 500 Arch Point. What the hell are you? I mean, this is obviously what they were referring to, but what is it? Oh, I'm sure that's fine. That's fine. I like what you've done with the place. It's all purple. It's a giant freaking egg. This is Link's Awakening? What the hell happened at the villa?
Check that out!
Huh. Sure is something. Well, how about that?
So, the beginning of the end, is it?
Deja vu.
The Grawl of Erebos. Just as the Black Records foretold.
The crypt where the great power will be reborn.
Rean. Eustace.
Couldn't have guessed this is how my day would turn out when I woke up this morning.
Let us begin. It is time. Chief of the Gnomes and head of the workshop, show me the way, Black Alberic.
As you wish, my lord.
What are they talking about? All I can think is like, okay, you're doing all this. Why? Like, why are you bringing about the end? For what reason? What purpose does the giant egg serve? Why do you want the giant egg?
Rufus. Millium.
Was that Allie?
Yes. But why?
Boss, Zeno, and Leo.
Azure Siegfried.
And that guy in the lab coat, isn't that...
The blazing demon and the fool were there as well.
So that's the maiden.
Why? We just spoke this morning and...
What's going on?
Indeed.
Lisa.
That man's name was Lumen or something like that, right? His hair looked different.
Franz Lumen. The first disciple of G. Schmidt and the deceased husband of the Reinford Group's chairman.
Knew it.
Also known as Franz Reinford.
Ah, so he has been lurking in the shadows these past 20 years.
Yes. Perhaps for the sake of working with the Chancellor to engineer this very moment.
Elisa.
Snap out of it! Now's not the time! As a bracer, I can't just sit here and let them pull off whatever that Twilight crap is they're planning. How about all of you?
She's right. We can't stop here.
We gathered together to do whatever we could to help. Our goal remains unchanged.
Yep, true.
Elisa, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely want answers.
Well, Vita, what will you do now?
Well, I'd like to charge in there alongside the rest of you, mostly out of spite. Unfortunately, I suspect things won't be quite that easy.
I mean, I can understand the spite situation.
What do you...
Something's...
There's a turbulent swirl in the mana.
Was that?
I believe so.
Sir Lysander, Sir Gaius, cryptids and magic knights have appeared all over the city.
It begins. We'll see you in the next part. Ta-ta for now.